Hi everyone, and welcome to this tutorial bite for Oxygen Not Included, which is a quick look at the rare space materials. These are the late game materials that have excellent material properties and have ingredients in their recipes that must be gathered from space locations. There are four, these being Thermium, Supercoolant, Visco-Gel and Insulation. They are all made in the molecular forge, but the collection of the space material ingredients differs between the base game and the spaced out DLC, and I will cover how to get them in both versions. So let's jump in, starting with Thermium. This counts as both a metal ore and a refined metal, like steel, and has excellent thermal properties. It has the highest thermal conductivity at 220, a little higher than aluminium, but also has an extremely high melting point at 2677 degrees Celsius. Additionally, it gives a huge plus 900 degrees overheat bonus to any machine, which is extremely useful and is required for some advanced late game builds. Thermium is made from niobium, which is itself a useful metal, and can also be used as a metal ore and refined metal, giving a plus 500 degrees overheat bonus. The recipe for Thermium is 5 kg of niobium and 95 kg of tungsten. Tungsten is refined from the metal ore wolframite, which can be mined in limited amounts from frozen or radioactive biomes. Interestingly, Thermium can also be turned back into niobium using the metal refinery. Then, even more Thermium can be made from this, so even just having 5 kg of niobium can make unlimited Thermium if you have unlimited tungsten. This is possible with space mining wolframite and tungsten from glimmering planets or asteroids. In the base game, niobium is collected from space destinations with a solid cargo bay, after the destination has been fully discovered with research modules. For a full explanation on how to do this, see the tutorial bite for base game rocketry. In the spaced out DLC, niobium is found on the outer superconductive planetoid. You will need to find this with a telescope and land dupes on the surface, and for how to do this, see the tutorial bites for DLC rocketry and colonizing planetoids. For some specific tips, we'll need to get through the magma to reach the niobium. Firstly, pick an area with the least magma, then the easiest way to clear it is using pitcher pumps and bottle emptiers. Set the bottle emptier to magma and enable auto bottle. Pitcher pumps do overheat, but as long as the top surface is kept in a vacuum, it will be fine. The straw does not transfer heat. Use this to empty a small path down, building obsidian tiles on the sides. Also remember to bring dupes with a tier 3 super duper hard digging skill to get through the obsidian. Once into the solid areas, simply dig to the niobium. The natural niobium is enough to make unlimited Thermium, as I explained, so I usually simply dig some out and leave the volcano alone. It is of course possible to capture this, as with any other volcano, and I would recommend a typical steam turbine to delete the heat and aquatuner to cool the turbine. You may also need to include a robo miner, as niobium forms solid tiles at very low mass, which can bury the volcano. Next up is Supercoolant, and as the name suggests, it's the best coolant. This is because it has the high specific heat capacity in the game and is twice as powerful and efficient as water in thermo-aquatuners. It also cannot freeze, so it can reach absolute zero without any issues, making it by far the best way to make liquid hydrogen and oxygen for rockets. Supercoolant is made with gold, petroleum and fullerene. The petroleum must be supplied in bottles, so I typically set up a small area with a pitcher pump for tubes to use. Control the level with a hydro sensor linked to a liquid vent from a petroleum supply. Open the vent if the level is below 200 kg. Fullerene must be collected from space. In the base game, again, it is a rare resource that must be discovered and then brought back. In the spaced out DLC, Fullerene can be directly harvested from gilded asteroid space destinations with the drill cone, and this has the useful benefit of also bringing gold too. Fullerene can also be created in the molecular forge, with aluminium, sulfur, and a new material, graphite. Graphite is found on the outer water planetoid, which again must be found, landed on, and mined, but there's nothing uniquely challenging about this. The third rare material is Visco-Gel, which is the only liquid that does not flow. This makes it ideal for making liquid locks, and it will happily sit 2 tiles high. It is placed using the bottle emptier. The recipe for Visco-Gel is Isoresin and petroleum, so it gives another reason to have a pitcher pump available. Before looking at how to get Isoresin, I can also introduce the last rare material, insulation, as it's also made with Isoresin. Don't confuse this with insulated tiles and pipes, but this is a material to make them from. It has a thermal conductivity of 0, so is a perfect insulator. Naturally, this is used for extremely hot materials that would melt other materials, or extremely cold materials to avoid heat transfer. An important point is that insulated pipes or tiles still need to be used. This is because normal pipes and tiles use the average of their material and whatever is in it or on it. As the other material's conductivity is not 0, there is still heat transfer. Insulated pipes and tiles use the lowest of the two values, which is 0 here, making a perfect insulator. Insulation is made from isoresin as well as abyssalite and reed fibre. The abyssalite is dug up around the map, and the reed fibre collected from thimble reeds or sheared from drecos. Be aware that 100 kilograms of insulation requires 5 units of reed fibre, so one insulated tile or pipe segment of 400 kilograms requires 20 units of reed fibre. This is commonly the bottleneck to producing large amounts of insulation in the base game, so plan ahead. Isoresin in the base game is again collected from a researched space destination, like the Niobium and Fullerene. In the Spaced Out DLC, it's much harder to get isoresin. The first step is to find and land on the outer marshy planetoid, then find experiment 52b, which is a hungry tree. Feeding the tree food by placing it on the tile nearby will produce resin, but it is hostile to dupes, so don't get them too close. The resin will then need to be pumped out and boiled to 125 degrees Celsius to produce isoresin. You can combine this into a hot industrial brick, as these are already hot enough. Here I'm showing an aquatuner heater. Only a quarter of the mass of resin is isoresin, and the rest turns to steam. The amount of resin produced depends on the calories that the tree eats. 800 kilocalories of food will make 4 kilograms of resin, and then 1 kilogram of isoresin. This means to make 100 kilograms of Visco-Gel requires 28,000 kilocalories, and 100 kilograms of insulation needs 12,000 kilocalories. One insulated tile or pipe segment of insulation is 48,000 kilocalories. The rate at which the tree produces resin also depends on the food's calories per mass. For example, feeding it the least calorie dense food, meal lice, would only produce 20 kilograms of isoresin per cycle, whereas barbecue would make 90 kilograms per cycle. I've linked the relevant wiki page in the description that has the full table of production rates by food type. The tree can eat a huge 90,000 kilocalories per cycle of the richest foods, which is the same as 90 dupes, so making enough extra food is likely going to be the limiting factor for making insulation in the Spaced Out DLC. And so that covers how to make all 4 rare space materials in oxygen not included. I hope this helps you unlock these super materials to enhance your base, and thanks for watching.